Welcome to Curious Salma, my new podcast in which I try to find my voice by talking to people. My first guest today is Lina Abdel Aal. I've known Lina for years since we studied in the same university. We actually lived in the same dorms too. Lina is a 28-year-old Egyptian from Alexandria. She works as a business analyst at Amazon. Lina loves cat stickers and random GIFs. Hi, Lina.
Hi, Salma.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining me on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited for this.
Me too. I'm very glad you're here. Lina, I invited you here because number one, we both like talking and sharing. I know
True.
this from your Instagram story.
Yes.
I think we both enjoy being open and vulnerable as well.
Yeah,
And number two is I believe you're very interesting and that you have a lot of stories to share. So let's start by basics. My first question, based that the name of my podcast is Curious Salma, is what are you curious about?
I'm mainly curious about humans. I'm very, very curious about psychology, behavior, understanding humans in general. And this is what got me really interested in the career that I have right now. I'm very interested in understanding why certain people choose the choices they make. How can we benefit from that, and how can we understand the motivation behind this? The reason why I have this kind of curiosity that I've built over the years is because I have dealt with mentally unstable parent, and I was always very curious to understand what caused him to get to this point. A part of my healing process was understanding and trying to sympathize with him a little bit, trying to understand. Okay, you're acting in this way. Why? Or trying to ask myself deeper questions about it to try to heal my inner child a little bit from the problems that had to go through.
Thanks a lot for sharing. Yeah, as expected, you're being open and vulnerable, and I love that about you. I want to ask you about your morning routine. What do you think it looks like?
My morning routine, I've been really, really trying to build a healthy lifestyle kind of thing. So I wake up at around 5:30. I try to meal prep for the rest of the day, post pictures on Instagram while doing so. Then pack my bags, go work out, then shower at the gym and go to work. So I try my best to start early so I be able to get to work at around 9:30 because I'm never sure when I finish work. So it's better to start early to give myself time. If I ended up spending more hours at work, for example, if I ended up doing something after work, I wouldn't be stressed about working out or having that kind of sound in my head, oh, you haven't done this yet. I want to get that out of the way.
Lina, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
It depends on my energy, to be honest. So if I have energy, I'm an extrovert. I talk to everyone. I get very deep with everyone. If I'm tired or if it's the end of the week, I had a long day at work, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm just like, I don't.
The thing is, I hear this answer sometimes, but it's not like depending on the day. Like your character in general, do you think you're an introvert with extroverted qualities, or you think you're an extrovert with or an ambivert? Than you think?
I think I'm an introvert with an extroverted qualities.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
You
knowing
take
me,
your
I like my personal space.
like for me, I'm very extroverted. I take my energy from people, but so I can stay on my own for a while, but also like I get exhausted. So yeah, sometimes I
Mm,
just need to recharge. I have a funny question for you. What would
sure.
be the title of the book about you if your worst enemy wrote it?
Mm, maybe short with stubby cheeks.
What?
Short with, with stubby cheeks.
Oh, that's it? That's the main.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It's cool. If that's the worst thing someone can say about you, like then you're loved, you're popular.
I am. I think I am. I'm also a people pleaser, so that's why. So it's not always a nice
Short people
thing.
pleaser. Yeah.
Maybe we can call it that.
I want to ask you about your career. You're a business analyst now, right?
Yes.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I do a lot.
What is the most important lesson you learned over your career?
Okay, so just to give you a quick backstory, I studied. I'm originally a business and economics student. I never studied anything to do with data. I never studied anything to do with how to visualize this data. But I found it very interesting once I got to work with it, once I started working with the data and trying to go into asking the questions. The main thing that I learned that I always have to keep learning, and I always have to keep asking the questions. So for me to be good at what I'm doing, I always have to be learning new things and like making sure that I'm asking the right questions. This comes with experience, this comes with reading, this comes with just listening to what everyone else is doing and then digging deeper in what I'm working on.
And now, like, yeah, if someone is starting out in your career, what's one piece of advice you want to give them?
I think the thing that's interesting about my career that it combines two things. So it's a bit technical, but it also has a business end of it. I would advise them to focus on the business end, because but also know the technicals. So you would learn the SQL, for example, you would learn the tools. But I want to make sure that the person who's going into the career understands the business as well. So you can do the technical job, but if you're not familiar with the business, if you do not understand how the business is going, if you're not sure how to ask the right questions again, you will get stuck at a place where you're just extracting data, for example, or you're just creating visualizations, and that's it. I think that the fun part of this job is the combination between the both parts. So
That's really
combining,
cool.
yeah, combining the business side and the data side is the fun part, or for me at least.
And do you have a favorite productivity hack?
Not really. uh,
Something that helps you balance these both worlds you just mentioned?
Actually, Audible books have been a
Mm.
very good friend of mine for the past year and a half. So Audible has been a very good product for me. This is not a definitely not a. I'm not selling the product, but I really like the product.
What's
I
your
have
favorite?
book in specific.
Yeah, that you listen like as an audiobook, because I'm trying to get into that habit actually. Like I always want to read shit and I never
Yeah,
do.
my favorite book when it comes to psychology and business is Thinking Fast and Slow. I really love it. I'm recently re-listening to a book called Grit. It's about how to make sure that you're gritty and how like the difference between being productive and being gritty and all that. So honestly, I've been building this habit for the past year and a half, and the fun thing about it is it became a habit. So instead of spending time not doing anything while driving, for example, even washing the dishes, I'd be listening to a book,
Mm.
and I'd be listening to it once, twice, and thrice. So I'd be able to connect with it. Also, because of my dyslexia, it's very hard for me to read books, and it takes me a lot of time to sit down and read actual written paper. So this is a proxy for that. So I'm able to get the information without putting my brain under so much strain.
When did you find out you were dyslexic? You are.
I found that at university actually. I was aware that there was something wrong, but I was not sure what its name. So I think, as far as I remember, maybe middle school, I would know the information really well, but my spelling was always so bad. My spelling was always really terrible. So I would know the information. I would know what I need to do. I would work really hard, but still I would have terrible spelling. So I was not sure what that was. After joining university, I ran across someone who was struggling, who had the same struggle, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's called dyslexia." It's like, and that was a lifesaver, kind of. Because for so long I thought I was stupid or something. I thought there was something wrong with my brain. Like I'm doing all the work and still my spelling is really bad. And it's not that I'm being messy or I'm kind of not caring, but because my brain is honestly not able to do this.
This must have been very challenging for you, because I remember you in college as this someone who's like a great, like a very hard worker. Like I remember, as far as you were always studying.
Yeah, I was. I was.
So that must have been really challenging.
It was, and but I think once we got to university, things got a little bit easier because you're not graded on spelling as much as you are graded on the information. And again, the software, so we're writing papers online, we're writing papers. So it became kind of easier. But yeah, still struggling with it sometimes. I still struggle with reading out loud, for example, because it takes me time to pronounce the words. It would take me time to kind of I'd read something that's completely different. And it happens a lot, by the way. When I'm reading something, masalan, for example, I would read a word that's not even there. I was like, okay, that's not that. So yeah, but I think I'm getting the understanding that this is not me. I am not alone, which is making things a bit easier.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
I think this it makes me want to mention how impressed I am by you in general when you speak up and you share your journey with mental health and with self growth and self improvement and all of that. I think I admire your openness about it, and I want to ask you, when you do this, when you share what you're going through in general, do you do it just for yourself, or you have in your head like, I might be helping someone else by just being open, I might inspire someone else?
Honestly, I mainly do it for myself. So it's a reminder for me because not all days are the same. I'm not always in the same mental state. So it's good to reflect on these stuff. It's good to have this as a kind of, yeah, I was feeling like this a year ago, it passed and it got better. And over time, the more I share, people started reaching out. People started coming back like, thank you for sharing this. This has been very helpful. I had so many people coming in telling me, for example, people I wouldn't even expect to ask about that. So was this one person came to me, is like, Lina, I know you are very interested in mental health. I need a psychiatrist and I need a therapist. If you can recommend someone, which makes me happy that these people find it safe to come and reach out to me.
At one point, I already asked you. I
Yeah,
remember at one point I reached out because I was inspired by one of your posts. So
yeah.
I find what you're doing is very important.
Yeah, it makes people believe that I'm easy to reach and they can find I'm safe. So that's very nice. But mainly I do it for myself, to be honest.
Which is completely like what everyone should do. They should aspire to be their best selves and should try to help themselves. And like you should be your best cheerleader is what I'm finding out lately.
I
I
am
want to
not my
ask you.
best feeling. I'm not my best. Just to be clear, I'm not.
But come on, I think we've grown a lot. For instance, in the
Definitely,
past 10
yes,
years
of
since we
course.
just when we
We do.
just met when we were
Yeah.
18 and 19. And if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Your hard work pays off and it's okay, you're safe.
Oh, wow.
So
What do you mean?
again, going back story just a little bit. I'm originally from Alexandria, as I mentioned. So university was not in Alexandria. Our university was in Cairo. I had to move back to Alexandria. And going back was a bit of a challenge because I did not have any career in Alexandria. There weren't any companies, especially after 2011. A lot of even banks moved to 6th of October and to Cairo. So we only had one bank that offered jobs that are not, for example, sales related. There weren't any international companies. There is one company that's there, that's it. So it was very challenging to find a job, and I was very passionate about what I studied. I really wanted to have a career. I really wanted to build my own career. So even at university, I remember my last semester, I was very depressed because I knew I had to go back. I knew that I would have to move in back and try to figure it out. Yeah, my hard work paid off. Thankfully, I am in Cairo now, living all by myself, able to sustain a life that I would only look at from like a rear view window or something like that. And having that stability and having that sense of safety was very important for me.
I
That's
get you.
mainly.
I get you because yeah, we're living that life that we worked hard for, and yeah, it pays off sometimes. How do you balance between life and work?
I don't. Like, with all honesty, I don't. I try my best to, but I think I've made some choices in life that were not very life oriented. Especially that I started my career in startups.
Hectic.
I knew from day one I had to put my 110 out for work. So that was not very nice. But it got me where I am today. So I'm thankful for that. Maybe I needed to do this. Maybe I needed to sacrifice a little bit. But I'm trying to kind of build consistency when it comes to my life. So I'm trying to, for example, make sure that I have time to work out, to meal prep, to have some time for me and my partner, just to have some things that are kind of staples in my life. But I definitely do not have a work-life balance, which is something I need to work on.
We're
Yeah.
all there. We're all there in
But yeah,
this journey.
yeah,
I know you like meal prepping, and I'm jealous for it because I've been trying to do that for years. But you're a foodie like me, right? Do you live to
I love
eat,
food.
or do you eat to live or live to eat?
I live to eat. I love
so,
food.
so you work out to be able to like eat what you
Yes,
want.
yes, yes. And it's
That's the
not
way to go.
it's not the smartest way to go about it because you'd work out more and end up gaining weight. It's like, what am I doing? But
Forget it.
yeah,
I don't understand these people who tell you, oh, I only eat because I need to sustain myself. I feel like they are missing so much in life, you
I
know?
enjoy food. I enjoy food a lot. I love a good breakfast. Like my favorite meal
Mm,
is breakfast, and I would have eggs and bread, and I'd be so happy with it. I just love breakfast, to be honest. I can have breakfast food all day long.
wow. I want to ask you, what's one question you wish I would have asked you? And how
Mm,
would you've answered?
my first impression about you.
Oh, wow. That puts me in a very, I'm blushing already. What is your first impression about of me?
Okay. If I remember correctly, we met in front of Vasili, the auditorium. I do not remember what you were doing there, but I remember that we met there and I got introduced to you. And you were so cool. You had so many side
When was
projects.
that? Which year?
2011, 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When I first joined university, so like really, really early on, like
Oh my
11
God.
years ago.
Yeah. I
So
was
I
doing a
remember
million things.
you were doing so many things. Like you were active in like literally each and every activity on campus. You knew everyone.
And off
And I was
campus.
like, yeah,
I honestly don't know till now when I compare how my life is right now with back then. I don't know how I got all of that energy. I think my ADHD was at its highest back then, with
yeah,
all
yeah.
of the multitasking. I was
Stimulants.
everywhere.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
stimulant. Yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah.
I can't do half that shit right now.
It's okay. It's okay. But I was
You're right.
definitely impressed by, as you said, I was a geek at university. I mainly studied and slept and I attended my classes. So I was so impressed by all your like side activities that you would be going around. You knew almost everyone. You would say hi to everyone. You introduced me to new people almost every day. So that was very cool. So yeah, that was the first thing that I think I still remember like vividly about our first interaction.
Lina, that is so cool. Thank you so much. I'm blushing. Although I love the attention. I have a segment here that I'm trying to start, which
Okay.
is everyone should stop. So, from your point of view, randomly, what do you think everyone should stop doing?
I'm not sure about everyone, but I should stop being driven by an anxiety.
That's for you or for everyone?
That's
It's for
for
everyone.
me, and I think it can apply to a lot of people because an anxiety is just it's terrible. Being driven by anxiety is really exhausting.
Fear is a very powerful emotion.
Yeah, yeah. And being driven by fear all the time is draining and can be it can affect the people around you a lot. It's not just you. Um,
That's
as
interesting.
I think especially as someone who has been struggling with an anxiety, and because I had like two big presentations the past 2 days, so that was I was on my top kind of an anxiety level. Being driven by anxiety is truly exhausting. It will give us more energy to kind of do the things that we want if we're just a little bit less driven by anxiety. If you're able to calm these voices down, it's like it's okay, you did your best, you're doing good, just go, kind of kick ass. But your brain is like, oh my god, I'm gonna fuck this up.
No, I understand, and I can relate, of course, because like just being in a fight or flight mode all the time is really draining.
Yeah,
It gets you to do things that are not good for you,
yeah,
and eventually doesn't help you as much. So yes, we're born and with all of these fight and flight instincts
mm,
in our head to
mm,
help us with things, but if you let it drive you all the time, then you end up, like in a self-destructive path, more or less. So it's something that I'm also like going through for a while now, and I am being aware of it. I'm practicing, I'm trying to do what the best I can. But yeah, of course it's hard. I have to just like be very honest about it. Having anxiety and depression is not something fun. It's
Definitely
not
not
like,
fun.
oh, please look at me, I am depressed. It's not for attention. It's
It's
something that's
draining.
really, really hard. Yeah.
It's very draining.
And we just
Sorry.
have to go through it and try our best. Lina, I'm very thankful that you were here. This has been really fun. And I
I'm
wanna
glad.
ask you, where can listeners find you online?
I think they mainly can find me through my LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And I
so
can easily
professional.
reply. Yeah, obvious. And if there's anyone who would want help with literally anything to do with business analytics or data analytics, I'll do my best to help. So just not to put myself in a tight place, but yeah, I will do my best to help if I can.
Thanks a lot, Lina. Love you. I'm really
Welcome.
honored. Bye.
Bye, Salome.